The Privacy and Internet Policy Subcommittee of the National Science and Technology, which, as Charlie described, I co-chair along with Assistant Attorney General Christopher Schroeder, brings together federal agencies and key White House offices to coordinate a broad, forward-looking set of Internet policy principles, including transparency, multi-stakeholder governance, accountability, individual empowerment, and responsibility. Today, our conversation includes leaders across the government, from the Department of Defense and security agencies to the State Department, Homeland, the Security and Justice, as well as voices on the economy, technology, and innovation, so that we can bring to one table agencies that face the range of differing challenges in a digital world. At the Department of Commerce, we have built on the work that was done during the Clinton administration, when Commerce was a leader in establishing the framework that has guided Internet policy really since the birth of the Internet age and through the last decade. As we update that framework for a more mature, more vigorous Internet, our mission is to apply the norms of rule of law in ways that protect innovation, that prevent fragmentation. Commerce's Internet Policy Task Force has taken its first steps in the areas of privacy and cybersecurity by releasing what we have termed green papers, that is, initial policy recommendations seeking further comment, recommendations that will ripen into administration policy. On Thursday of this week, Secretary Locke will address a symposium on the global free flow of information for online businesses. Green papers on free flow and on online copyright protection are in the works. Our green paper on commercial data privacy and innovation in the Internet economy, released last December, outlined a multifaceted approach to reshape, to update the U.S. commercial data privacy framework. An approach that has provided a template for our work across the streams of work of the Internet Policy Task Force. Our approach evolved to combine a call for legislation for creating a consumer privacy Bill of Rights based on fair information practice principles, coupled with the adoption of legally enforceable codes of conduct that will be developed through a multi-stakeholder process. This dual approach provides a model for addressing public policy issues in the world of Internet technology. Legislation and rulemaking simply do not move at Internet speed, and technology quickly outpaces prescriptive rules. Principle-based rules leave flexibility for adaptation and for innovation while providing clarity to stakeholders. In a multi-stakeholder process, the government is an active participant, a convener that can bring stakeholders together to examine changing consumer expectations and identify privacy risks early in the development of new products and services. With all parties working together, we believe a multi-stakeholder approach will harness the expertise of the private sector, of civil society, of academia, of technologists to solve privacy challenges that are as big a problem for businesses as they are for individuals. Commerce has followed a similar model in cybersecurity. In the cybersecurity green paper issued last week, we recommended that Commerce convene and facilitate the development of codes of conduct to establish common cybersecurity practices across the entire Internet information sector. This sector is a complement to what the cybersecurity legislation calls covered critical infrastructure. And this sector faces the same acute challenges of constantly changing threats and responding to those threats while remaining dynamic and innovative. Cybersecurity legislation and the Commerce cybersecurity green paper come at a critical time. Challenges to cybersecurity are mounting. We've seen that the recent attacks on Sony's PlayStation Network exposed personal information of over 100 million people and brought down the entire Sony network for a month. That puts at risk one of the archetypal technology brands of the last 50 years. Financial institutions are targets. The data breach that Citibank reported last week exposed account details of 1% of its 21 million North American credit card customers. Cyber intrusions have targeted market-moving information from NASDAQ, from the IMF, and yes, economic statistics from the Department of Commerce and the Labor Department. Public organizations and private groups are also under attack. We saw PBS's website defaced in retaliation, so-called, for a critical news report. The Westboro Baptist Church website was brought down in a response to their statement that nothing could suppress their religious message. These are attacks on the press, on free speech, and on religion. The attack on RSA showed that no one is immune, and the hacking of Lockheed Martin with information stolen from RSA seems to confirm that this was a sophisticated attack back in March. It's a calculated strategy aimed at defense secrets and related IP. Government is certainly not immune. You probably heard today that the U.S. Senate website was attacked. At the Department of Commerce, we've suffered privacy breaches. These caused us to reevaluate our privacy management, because if we're going to lead in this area, we know we need to get our own house in order. So to signal how seriously we take the issue, we established a new Chief Privacy Officer position that reports directly to senior management within the agency and is overseen by a high-level Privacy Counsel. After a series of minor but recurring breaches, then Deputy Secretary Dennis Hightower ordered a stand-down of all offices dealing with personally identifiable information to examine their processes, resulting in major increases in the use of encryption and in privacy awareness. The new Privacy Office developed a role-playing, animated, interactive training program on handling PII that Training Magazine's 2011 conference awarded a Best Discovery Learning Training. This recent wave of cybersecurity attacks and breaches sounds an urgent wake-up call. One of the insights of our policy discussions within the administration has been that businesses and consumers have been able to externalize the costs and the risks of security. That is simply no longer tenable. And that is what the policy process of our cybersecurity green paper, what the measures of the administration's cybersecurity legislation are aimed at changing. On consumer data privacy, we have been busy considering responses to the Commerce Green Paper from consumer advocates, companies, academics, privacy advocates, including many of you in this room. These comments are helping us to craft a comprehensive administration policy which we plan to put out this summer. In March, we announced support for a consumer privacy bill of rights in legislation to provide a baseline of consumer data privacy protections that will be enforceable by the Federal Trade Commission and that are based on a comprehensive set of fair information practice principles. Our policy will flesh out what those principles will be. They are not going to be a radical departure from the original principles developed by HEW in the 1970s and elaborated by the OECD. But we seek to adapt them to the interactive and interconnected world of today. Let me say a little bit about what it will mean to do business under this new dynamic privacy policy framework. Privacy policies and notice of choice will still be fundamental building blocks. Notice and choice recognizes the principle that consumers have a right to know how their information is being used and exercise some control over those uses. But I think everybody recognizes that notice and choice by itself is not enough. Certainly everybody here is deeply concerned about data privacy, informed about the issue. But let me ask in a show of hands here, how many of you in your personal interactions, it's not, you're not doing it for professional or intellectual reasons, look at privacy policies in your dealings with e-commerce, with ISPs online? We cannot afford to let this moment pass. As the title to this conference says, the future is now. Thank you very much.